dan salam Malaysia Madani. Pada hari ini saya akan berkongsi dan bentangkan Kad Laporan MITI bagi Suku Kedua Tahun 2025. Ada beberapa pencapaian yang sudah dimaklumkan kepada semua, which I will touch on briefly before I open the floor to question and answers. Tapi kita masuk jugalah dalam deck ini untuk sake of completion. Kita terus kepada agenda hari ini. Kita akan mulakan dengan productivity. Kita berkongsi sekali lagi mengenai kedudukan Malaysia yang naik 11 anak tangga bagi World Competitiveness Ranking WCR baru-baru ini yang diterbitkan oleh IMD. Yang utama ialah faktor perdagangan antarabangsa ataupun international trade telah meningkat ke tempat ke-6 atau naik 11 anak tangga berbanding tahun sebelumnya. Dan penambahbaikan ini didorong oleh peningkatan ekspor yang kukuh dan kepelbagaian pasaran. Dan ini telah membantu dari segi mengukuhkan our trade surplus kita. Faktor prestasi ekonomi, kecekapan kerajaan dan kecekapan perniagaan juga telah membantu dari segi potensi daya saing keseluruhan Malaysia. Dan kalau kita lihat prestasi ekonomi, kita menduduki tempat keempat dalam global. Dalam ini dari segi ini meningkat 4 anak tangga. Manakala faktor kecekapan kerajaan dan kecekapan perniagaan meningkat sebanyak 8 anak tangga. MITI juga memainkan peranan melalui jawatan kuasa daya saing negara. MITI menyumbang dari segi penetapan hala 7 strategik tentang daya saing. Kita dengan pelibatan MITI dalam strategik ataupun special task force on Agency Reform ataupun nama akronimnya STAR, dan lebih 1,000 inisiatif di bawah reformasi karenah birokrasi RKB. Agensi MITI yang meneraju perkara ini ialah MPC, Malaysia Productivity Corporation, dan sejak tahun lalu MPC telah bekerja keras bagi memastikan peningkatan produktiviti dan pelaksanaan di peringkat akar umbi. So on the Special Task Force Agency Reform, MPC and MITI has been the secretariat to coordinate this. Dan alhamdulillah usaha kita berhasil, dan MITI serta agensinya telah kita nak pastikan kita kekalkan momentum ini dengan beri tumpuan yang berterusan kepada inisiatif RKB, iaitu to reduce the bureaucracy dan untuk mencapai objektif kerangka ekonomi madani. Dalam slide ini, satu case study yang ingin kami kongsi ialah projek Kulim Fast Lane. Slide cepat sangat, tunggu saya cakap. Next slide. Ya. Dari segi pengurangan masa kelulusan permit pembinaan, this is what we have done. Such as an example, dari segi pengeluaran lesen segera, penyerahan projek, pertumbuhan ekonomi. For example, pengeluaran lesen segera dikeluarkan just after 1 jam selepas CCC, dan penyerahan projek pun telah dikurangkan ke 10 bulan. Dan ini telah meningkatkan pelaburan, pekerjaan dengan juga hasil. In fact, jumlah pelaburan terkumpul negeri Kedah contohnya untuk projek ini, iaitu projek Kulim Fast Lane, kita telah meningkat melonjak sebanyak 74%. For example, in the year 2020, 50.1 bilion ringgit, dan tahun 2024 naik hingga 192 bilion ringgit. Dan ini tentunya memberi manfaat kepada pelabur FDI dan juga DDI kita, dan untuk komuniti perniagaan dan juga penduduk tempatan. Dan slide yang seterusnya, ini menunjukkan good regulatory practice ataupun amalan kawal selia yang baik. Ini juga memainkan peranan yang penting. Kita nak meningkatkan kecekapan ataupun the ease of doing business. So kita keep track of this, dan projek yang didaftarkan kita fokus dan memonitor untuk memastikan mereka dapat menyumbang kepada pencapaian ini. Dan kita juga dapat melihat dari segi kos, ada penjimatan kos yang telah siap bagi projek-projek ini. Penjimatan kos bagi projek yang telah siap dari bulan Januari ke Mei contohnya tahun ini 364 juta ringgit. Dan inilah, dan Jun juga telah menunjukkan satu penjimatan. Dan seterusnya mengenai perdagangan, banyak isu perdagangan baru-baru ini. And then we can talk about it later during the Q&A. Next slide. So saya ingin tekankan MITI sentiasa memantau landscape perdagangan. Kita akan mengambil tindakan sewajarnya bagi mengekalkan daya saing Malaysia sebagai negara perdagangan yang terbuka. It's going to be a challenging period the next 6 months, bulan Jun and onwards. Kita melihat dari segi landscape perdagangan dunia ataupun international trade, memang ada cabaran untuk kita meneruskan momentum ini, terutamanya dengan situasi reciprocal tarif. Dan kita memang suka untuk kita memastikan sama ada kita boleh teruskan momentum ini dalam dari segi projection dari WTO itu sendiri. Dan to just recap, pada 5 bulan Mei yang lepas, semua sijil tempasal bukan keutamaan ataupun non-preferential certificate of origin, kita panggilnya the short version is NPCO, untuk tujuan ekspor ke Amerika Syarikat hanya akan dikeluarkan oleh MITI bermula 6 Mei. So this we made announcement earlier. Dan semalam satu lagi pengumuman yang diumumkan oleh pihak MITI pada 14 Julai, semua ekspor, pemindahan dan transit AI berprestasi tinggi adalah tertakluk kepada permit perdagangan strategik. Jadi Malaysia committed untuk menjadi negara perdagangan yang bertanggungjawab dan destinasi pelaburan yang dipercayai. Ini setelah kita menilai landscape perdagangan kami menggunakan the risk-based approach. Oleh itu, keputusan 14 Julai semalam dibuat di bawah Akta Perdagangan Strategik 2010, or it was done under the Strategic Trade Act 2010, untuk menangani risiko penyalahgunaan yang berkaitan dengan chip berprestasi tinggi, yang berpotensi untuk disalahgunakan dalam beberapa aktiviti yang terlarang. Dan dalam situasi dunia baru yang pesat berubah, Malaysia berpegang teguh kepada pendiriannya untuk membangunkan industri semikonduktor negara bagi kemajuan dan juga kebaikan kita. Kita juga akan berusaha untuk mempelbagai dan memperluaskan pasaran bagi barangan dan perkhidmatan kita. The next slide, I want to share with all of you, jumlah perdagangan Malaysia meningkat sebanyak 14.6% tahun ke tahun kepada 497.4 bilion ringgit pada 2024. Ini menyumbang pada 25.8% KDNK. Dan satu lagi data point, defisit perdagangan perkhidmatan mengecil daripada 44 bilion ringgit kepada 11.7 bilion ringgit pada tahun 2024. Ekspor perkhidmatan juga meningkat 24.6%, hampir 243 bilion ringgit. Ini pertumbuhan didorong oleh perjalanan perkhidmatan, perniagaan lain dan juga pengangkutan. So the trade numbers we already shared. Next slide. This is 2024. Of course, we have the latest 2035 numbers also, which I believe we have announced. Juga trade and investment. Dari segi our participation in FTAs, kita telah juga buat perjanjian perdagangan bebas yang telah diratifikasikan oleh Malaysia. You can see there. We have, of course, kita dapati masih ramai pengeksport yang tidak ketahui manfaat yang boleh diraih. So we're going to ramp up the utilization of the FTA. So we have right now 18 FTAs with the two latest one being the Malaysia UAE and the Malaysia EFTA. Next slide. So this is the new FTA signed, just been signed in the last, in the 2025. So the total EFTA market is about 14.8 per, I don't think that's right, the million. I think it's about billion ringgit. Kan? Batu the next one. So this is just outgoing FTA negotiation and review. Di sini menunjukkan perbincangan kita Malaysia Korea sedang berjalan. Kita menyasarkan kita akan dapat memutamatkan perbincangan tahun ini. Malaysia EU sedang berjalan. Malaysia GCC pun baru diumumkan dan juga ASEAN Canada pun sedang dibincangkan. Next one. So this is target for the when we look at what has been announced, 50 juta ringgit yang akan disalurkan sebagai grant pembangunan pasaran. This is the Market Development Grant, MDG, kepada Matrik, diumumkan hari itu di Parlimen. Dan daripada 50 juta ringgit tersebut, sasaran yang ditetapkan adalah sebanyak 22.7 bilion ringgit bagi tahun 2025 dan tahun 2026. Dan lebih 90 projek ataupun program yang dianjurkan oleh Matrik merangkumi pameran global, misi perdagangan dan juga program penyumbaran antarabangsa. So, matrik representative this year, kita akan mengembangkan produk dan perkhidmatan Malaysia ke pasaran baru yang berpotensi tinggi. So these programs, which comprise international trade exhibitions, trade missions, and international sourcing programs, are strategically designed to accelerate the expansion of Malaysian products and services into new and high potential markets. So if you look at the next slide, Matrik akan menganjurkan, for example, 42 program penyumbaran antarabangsa, kita ada 3 misi peningkatan ekspor dan juga penyertaan di dalam 45 pameran perdagangan antarabangsa. Kita akan menggiatkan usaha meningkatkan pasaran di pasaran baru seperti Amerika Selatan, Afrika, Asia Barat, Asia Timur dan juga of course rantau ASEAN. So you can see from this slide. Seterusnya, slide 17 dari segi pelaburan, kita juga mesti fokuslah kepada pelaburan untuk membina daya tahan negara. Dan if you look at our NIMP 2030, our second misi nombor 2 ialah pelaburan digital yang menunjukkan trend yang semakin meningkat. Setakat suku pertama tahun ini, pelaburan digital menyediakan 92,058 peluang pekerjaan. Memang ada dengan ketidaktentuan dari segi resiprokal tarif ini, ada juga syarikat-syarikat yang berjumpa dengan kita yang mengatakan mereka menunggu a bit more certainty before going through some of the investment decision. Ini of course not just in Malaysia but the rest of the world. Dan kita juga melihat dari segi pusat data, besar juga pelaburan dalam sektor ini, terutamanya dalam sektor pelaburan digital. Dan menurut kajian dari segi spillover, ya, setiap pekerjaan langsung di pusat data, kira-kira 5.9 pekerjaan tambahan dicipta dan melalui sokongan ekonomi yang luas. This is important kerana there is a multiplier, terutamanya untuk PKS, untuk mengembangkan perniagaan mereka melalui transformasi digital. Dan kajian juga menunjukkan pelaburan dalam pusat data menyumbang penggadaan 6.6 kali kepada pertumbuhan ekonomi. So the multiplier is about 6.6 times dari segi peningkatan perkhidmatan untuk barangan dan juga perkhidmatan melalui ekonomi digital. So what it means is that setiap ringgit yang dibelanjakan untuk pusat data, ekonomi mendapat manfaat tambahan RM6.60. Next slide. So dari segi membina daya tahan, kita juga giat menjana potensi pelaburan dan potensi ekspor melalui pelbagai trade investment mission. Kita misi pelaburan dan perdagangan dan juga melalui lawatan Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri ke luar negara. Ya. Setakat ini kita telah meraih potensi pelaburan sebanyak RM25.6 bilion dan potensi ekspor sebanyak RM30 bilion yang sedang giat disusul lah, or follow up from our team. Okay, next slide. This is our green investment strategy. MIDA is keeping track on green investments berdasarkan pelaburan yang diluluskan di bawah bidang kuasa MIDA. Alhamdulillah, suku pertama tahun ini kita telah menerima sebanyak 22.9 bilion ringgit pelaburan hijau. Seterusnya, mari kita lihat pelaburan yang direalisasikan. Ya, sebut tadi potensi potensi pelaburan dan juga pelaburan yang telah dijanjikan ataupun dan lepas itu perjanjian pelaburan yang direalisasikan. So these numbers are managed by MIDA dan NCI telah meluluskan 3,494 projek pembuatan untuk tempoh tahun 2021 hingga Jun 2025, di mana 3,095 projek telah dilaksanakan. So this is about 86% setakat Jun 2025 from 2021. Ya, so untuk makluman, daripada sebarang jumlah pelaburan yang diluluskan, akan sentiasa terdapat sebilangan kecil projek yang tidak akan diteruskan kerana beberapa sebab seperti perubahan hala tuju strategik atau keutamaan syarikat. Jadi bagi MITI, projek sedemikian membentuk kurang daripada 3% daripada jumlah projek yang diluluskan. Next slide. Beginning 1st of December, kerajaan telah mengukuhkan lagi our IMFC, Invest Malaysia Facilitation Center. So this is where all the relevant agencies and departments are involved in this one-stop center. Yeah. Next slide. This is on JSEZ. So dalam JSEZ ini, yang kita dah ada forum baru-baru ini di bulan April yang lepas di Johor Bahru, where we did the promotion to invite investors into JSEZ, dan forum ini telah dianjurkan bersama-sama juga dengan MTI Singapura dan hampir 1,000 pemimpin perniagaan dan penggubal dasar. Next. In terms of industry, kita banyak yang, next slide. If you look at this, if you look at the numbers, kita adalah on track berdasarkan metrik keberhasilan yang kita kongsi semasa pelancaran NIMP tahun 2023. And if you look at the first quarter of 2025, hasil tambah pada KDNK adalah 3.8 bilion ringgit, peningkatan about 4% berbanding suku pertama 2024. Kita juga telah menambah 50,000 pekerja ke dalam sektor pembuatan. But yang important adalah gaji median telah naik 5.4% ke RM2,745 berbanding RM2,600 pada suku pertama 2024 bagi sektor pembuatan. Okay, so the next slide, this is on economic complexity. This is misi yang pertama. Dan juga kita menunjukkan beberapa langkah penting dalam usaha Malaysia untuk mengukuhkan kedudukan dalam industri semiconductor global. We had one is two of the plan, tindakan utama, satu penciptaan juara reka bentuk IC global dari Malaysia, dan kedua menarik pemain global untuk mewujudkan kemudahan wafer fabrication. So this is some of the success. Next slide. And this is from economic complexity, menunjukkan beberapa syarikat yang telah menjana pendapatan lebih dari 50 juta ringgit dalam sektor-sektor wafer fabrication, ATP, pemasangan, pembungkusan dan pengujian, the test and assembly, pembuatan peralatan serta bahan-bahan dan komponen. Next slide, this is the co-investment fund dan NIMP Industry Development Fund. Semua self-explanatory what we've done to support the industry in terms of funding. Next slide, this is some of the NIMP on helping the export of some of our products to the focus areas. These are the indicators. So contohnya dari sektor E&E, machinery dan equipment dan peralatan perubatan, kita boleh lihat bagaimana ekspor telah meningkat bagi sektor-sektor sasaran ini. So these are clear KPIs that we track religiously. If we are not making an impact to the bottom line in terms of our country's bottom line, which is of course GDP, then we will continue to look at policies that we can tweak in terms of execution. Nombor 29 ialah Chemical Industry Roadmap. This again we launched in 2023, dan alhamdulillah pelaburan dalam sektor kimia telah meningkat 105%. In fact, from export itself in the first 3 months, chemical and chemical product export also continues, although there's small decline. Next slide. Ini adalah menunjukkan program pengambilan teknologi pintar di Smart Tech Up. This is where kita look at menubuhkan 3,000 kilang pintar menjelang 2030. So this is where we are slowly moving up and to help the companies, especially SMEs. Next slide, this is another plan on NIMP 2030. So Perdagangan is now on track to come up with the first EV car menjelang akhir tahun 2025. Next slide. This is on financing. So we're looking at microeconomy untuk sektor pembuatan. MIDF sendiri telah under MITI have made quite a strong support for our industries. Next slide. This is Marichas, this e-bike program to support the motorcycle, e-motorcycle industry. Rebate is about 28 million yang announced in the budget 2025. In terms of station pengecas EV, we now have 4,761 EV charging station. Next slide. This is on tariff. So I think I've talked a lot about tariff on this, but the discussion is ongoing. But at the same time, kita perlu membina daya tahan industri kita on supply chain resilient. So when we look at tariff issues, we need to ensure that we strengthen our fundamentals, especially on our supply chain resiliency. Okay, itu saja daripada saya. This is just on supply chain resiliency again. I'll share the slides with all of you. So I'll open the floor to questions and answers. Thank you. Kalau ada. Okay.
Morning, YB.
Morning.
Daniel from Reuters.
Hi, Daniel from Reuters.
How are you? So, how do you see Malaysia's trade performance for the rest of the year or in the third quarter? And how likely is it to be more front-loading before the August 1st deadline for US tariffs? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're still on track to reach our target growth. So, in fact, if we look at our target growth around 4 to 5%, that will still be achievable. But the second half of the year, which is already starting now, we are seeing global trade moderating in terms of growth. Yes, you're right, there's front loading in the last 5 months especially, but at the same time, given the August deadline, we expect this to somewhat continue, but I think a lot of it has been done. We are going to issue on Friday the latest trade numbers for June, so you will see those numbers. But what's important, as I mentioned just now, Malaysia trade performance for this year still the expectation, as you know, for 2025, the projection by Bank Negara in terms of trade is expected to be around 5%, yeah, and MOF about 3.9%. So we continue to focus on achieving that target. Next, another question? Hi.
Are there any updates on the trade talks last week, especially with U.S. trade representative Jameson Greer?
Yeah, so we had a good discussion, myself and our team, together with USTR, Jameson Greer, and the team from the trade department. What's happening is that we are now looking at various items on tariff and non-tariff that we can agree on. I've set a deadline for the team, of course, and of course Trump has deadline the 1st of August. We try and conclude even before that if we can. But again, there are issues that we still need time because it involves many agencies and ministries. So we are doing the calculations as well. What is the impact to our export if we agree to certain terms, and what's the impact to our revenue as well, the government revenue, etc. So that's ongoing. We will continue to have another discussion this week, and we'll continue to accelerate that discussion until end of the month. As you know, so far, Malaysia and many other countries are having difficulties in terms of meeting that deadline set earlier, but we try and meet this new deadline, 1st of August, but not at the expense of agreeing to every request, because some of the requests we feel may not be fair to Malaysia.
Quick follow-up. What are the terms that are still difficult, like unfair, as you said? Are there any additional terms from the US then?
Well, the terms negotiations are, there are no new terms, but of course there are concerns on non-tariff issues. We've addressed one of that through the Strategic Trade Act, where we have now put one item in the list. But on issues where we cannot move, which is a red line, again, I've signed the NDA, but I can share with you some of the issues are related to equity interests in certain sectors. As you know, Malaysia have equity restriction for foreign shareholders for certain sectors. So there's a request for us to relook or liberalize those sectors. Many countries also are being asked to do the same. So for us, we need to consult those industries whether we are ready to liberalize those equity shareholding restriction, especially when it comes to foreign equity restrictions that we have for many sectors. Some sectors are fully liberalized. I think KSU also know manufacturing sector, nearly every sector is already liberalized, but some strategic sectors, they still have equity limits for foreign shareholders.
Which sectors are?
I think you know. There's
The ones that
all they want to liberalize all sectors.
all.
Yeah. So if you are in a country, a sovereign country, and for strategic interests, you're willing to do that, right? So we need to study that carefully. What's the impact? Yep.
Hello, AB.
Hello.
My name is Miyu from NNA Malaysia. I would like to ask about Osaka Expo.
Yes.
And on 26 June, MITI released that you guys achieved potential trade and investment. 69% of the total achieved total goal. And now the expo have like 3 more months left. Will it be like, what's your expectation for the coming 3 months?
Okay, I'll be going there in August, mid-August, to see the progress. In fact, our chief KSU is the one in charge of the meeting those targets. So Matre and Maida is also, of course, also involved. I am very optimistic that we should reach that target by year end, given that, by end of October. So we should meet the target. In fact, in terms of numbers of visitors, it has surpassed as well. Have you been to the pavilion? Yeah, you must come to the pavilion. I also have not been. My team.
Planning to go?
Yeah,
August.
mid-August, where is the ASEAN Day. So Malaysia as ASEAN has been asked to officiate the ASEAN Day at the Expo. So I'll be there to officiate the ASEAN Day, and I'll be there at the Malaysian Pavilion and other ASEAN members as well. So I think there's a full report going to be presented to me. But from my understanding, we are on track. But I think they will beat the target. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Should invite all of you to join.
Please invite me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you invite media?
Dato' Sri, Firdaus Syawani to the negotiation tariff things. Actually, bila kita dengar rundingan ni, macam we have to follow their request. Are we only negotiating on the scope of their request? Sebab dia kata nak liberals itu, ini semua. Kita ada advantage tak, Dato' Sri?
Basically, in this negotiation, dia tak force, right? Tapi kalau you tak nak buat, mungkin tak dapatlah tarif yang lower ataupun tarif yang kita nak. So at the moment, of course, we don't know. Let's say we give ABC and it doesn't impact us so much, and net we gain by lowering tariff, then we will do it. But we have to do the calculation, the maths right lah, because we can't agree to terms when the tariff rate is still high, right? Because we don't know. Is it 10? Is it 12? Is it 15? Right? Of course, we're also working on sectorals as well. As you know, right now, for example, Pamasra knows is better. The semiconductor and pharmaceutical one is zero for now. So, of course, we want that to continue lah, the 0% tariff. Whether we get that or not is another team under the Secretary of Commerce, Department of Commerce is looking at that. So there will be sectoral issues and also the base. But from our discussions, and I think it's quite clear dekat luar sana, the minimum nampaknya for average is 10 lah. That's the floor. But for sectoral, there will be opportunities for us to negotiate below 10. So kalau kita nak 10, saya rasa kalau kita setuju dengan semua requestnya dapatlah 10 tu. But can we afford to, right? So these are the questions we have to ask. But at the same time, we cannot just rely on this trade negotiation. We have to, like from the slides tadi pun menunjukkan kita kena diversify. Right now, trade with the US is around 15%. Trade with the rest of the world, for Malaysia anyway, Malaysia and the rest of the world is about 85%. So, but still 50% is still sizable lah, yeah, for one country. So we need to see how we can, I guess. It's also satu lagi benda yang we need to be mindful is also about relative tariff rates. Kalau kita at 20, rest at 30, 35, 40, not so bad lah. For at the moment, of course, we've seen. We try to look at what's happening. Baru-baru ini pun EU naik 10% ya, from 20 to 30. Brazil of course lagi teruk lah sampai 50. And even Mexico 30, Canada 30. So we of course 25, and some of our neighbors 30 plus. So everyone is in a position where, relatively speaking, we are at par or slightly better. Kan? Cuma we don't know what's going to happen after 1st of August. So this is where we try our best. Net, we need to look at Malaysia gains from this, but we will only know whether we gain or not if we know what the rest got. That's my point lah. Kalau kita dapat lower than the rest, walaupun higher than 10, then there will be some advantage lah, yeah, for export to US. But still, we're not sure what's the impact in terms of given the price. Yes, Kak.
Babi Alaina, ya. Babi US cakap kalau kita produce barang dia, hasilkan, so dia orang akan hapuskan tarif tu. So penganalisis ekonomi ada cadangkan kalau kita boleh buat 50-50, macam kita ambil produk yang separa siap, and then kita buat dekat Malaysia, and then kita ekspor balik kat sana, maybe boleh mereka kurangkan tarif tu. Ada cadang, ada.
Yeah, we look at all that. If we look at the semiconductor sector, for example, banyak import from the US in the E&E semiconductor sector. So they have done the fabrication or some parts there, and then we do the test and assembly, and the completed products go back to send back to the US for to be completed those products. So that is where I think we try to explain. To be fair, our industries pun also explaining to the Trump administration that when it comes to certain sectors, we actually complement each other. We only do one part of it. The beginning part and the end part is actually done in the US, right? For semiconductor especially. But of course, in our ambition and assess, we also want to do the highest level of value add part juga lah. But maybe we cannot export to the US lah. We have to say we export to the 85% of that market. Yeah.
Good morning. Dr. Sri, given the momentum of the GSSEZ in Q1 this year, what is the potential impact of the tariffs on the SEZ? Has there been any discussions with Singapore's MITI, given that Singapore has a potentially lower tariff rate?
Yeah. So for that, it's still early days. Of course, when we talk to companies, not just for GSEZ, in fact, I was in Penang yesterday. I met a few of the players, including logistic players, because they also can have a view given the demand when it comes to logistics. So if there's more exports or there's more production, then logistic companies will be busier. There seems to be a wait and see attitude. Some of the one that committed will continue. Some of the one yang baru potential looks like they are to wait. Similarly for JSAZ, they are looking at the tariff scenario before they come and back and see the calculation. And that calculation can only be done, or the analysis in this case can only be done after the certainty is there. So right now, because of uncertainty, they put on hold lah. Banyak put on hold. Tapi yang dah beli, dah buat tu dia tak stop lah. Yang one yang belum start tu yang seem to want to relook at what those numbers are. And again, it also relatively speaking, is Vietnam going to be higher? Is Mexico going to be higher than Malaysia? So these are also factors to consideration, even Indonesia or Thailand, depending on sector lah. Some sector we compete with other countries, then they will look at the tariff rate in those countries vis-a-vis the tariff rate in Malaysia. Okay.
Hi, Dr. Sri, Astro bernama. So on the latest announcement yesterday on the high-level AI chips, transships permit and all that. So is it something required by the US reps, or is it our own initiative to do the permit on the transshipment? And has been a discussion on the definition of the transshipment goods itself for the tariff regulation and all. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, transshipment, we've always been monitoring this. So this is more for strategic sectors. So on this export controls on AI chips, especially for US origin, this has been announced. They are going to effective immediately here. All exports, transits, and transshipment of high-performance AI chips. Then now they require a strategic trade permit. Kenapa it matters? This matter, one is not just because of the US, but we have been monitoring this. There are some regulatory gaps. This is one way to close that regulatory gap. And kita juga nak prevent the misuse of diversion of sensitive tech lah. sensitive technology seperti AI chip ni now become very sensitive, not just to US, but I think beginning more and more countries will also, Europe and one day China also. So kita nak ensure there's a responsible trade lah, while Malaysia kita sekarang tengah review the listing of AI chip under the strategic item list lah, and the SIL. So what happens is kalau ada companies or person violating the Strategic Trade Act, kita akan ambil tindakan. So basically what we don't want is the circumvention of export controls, dan juga misuse of jurisdiction for illicit trade lah. Let's say you nak export ke Malaysia tetapi you datang ke Malaysia, you hantar ke negara lain. So our position has been consistent. So this Strategic Trade Act dah lama ada, since 2010. Kita support secure and rules-based trade, and kita juga want to make sure that we are in compliance with the international standards and obligations. And kita, yang pentingnya for our industry and for our economy, kita nak avoid juga secondary sanctions lah. So that's why we have the Strategic Trade Act. So what is important is kita, especially MITI dan Kerajaan Malaysia, we committed to a transparent dan juga lawful and trading environment for all partners dengan investors lah, not just for one. Thank you. Yes.
Just to follow up on the numbers question, I mean there's a lot of suggestions that there's chip smuggling, but is there an estimate about the numbers involved? So 1 or 2 chips? Is it millions of chips moving?
So there's not million lah. I don't think there are a million of chips, but in fact, our team has been working closely with customs, with MCMC, with police, with the players, and we have not found any. We have not found any case incident. So we have spoken to US and the players, big players, to cooperate with us, work with us, and if there is any evidence, we will definitely take action. But investigation continues. So far tak jumpa lagi. It's just that demand, one cannot deny the fact that demand for AI chips into Malaysia has been big lah, because of the data center. I think that has raised some red flags, because Malaysia has been starting to be a dominant player. But having said that, I'm not sure. I read in the news that AI chips H10 can be now exported to China. I'm not sure. Kan ada keluar some news. So I just read it this morning, but I don't have the details on that. Things are moving so fast, because AI chips pun, what I'm trying to say here, AI chips pun ada different level of sophistication, kan. Some are quite, I guess, not so strategic or sensitive or so powerful in a way that I think shouldn't be a problem. So we also need to be mindful of the different level of sophistication and which one is in the list, right?
Baiklah, soalan terakhir.
Okay, so itulah soalan terakhir tadi tu. Bagilah Chan. Okay, terima kasih semua. Jumpa makan kalau ada makan. Saya tak tahu ada makan ke tak.